Sandhurst carp.
One of these is going to do a bite today. Well happy with my solid bags.
Stolen from Sarah Brown.
No, not stolen from Sarah Brown. Stole some of her mix, some of her hemp crumb and salt. But she bought me these bags. Good angler, Sarah Brown.
Swan's right in my way now. Typical, isn't it? She's right on my line. For fuck's sake. God knows how long I'll be waiting. Oh mate, that went out an absolute dream. That's the one that's going to go. That couldn't have hit the clip any better. I could see the bubbles popping up where the bag's dispersing, just past that little bit of white fluff. There's a proper hatch going off today. So you joined me down here today at Sandhurst. It's the back end of winter now, and yeah, conditions are really good for this time of year. You know, it's about 10, 11 degrees today. It's overcast, there's a bit of drizzle in the air, and yeah, things are looking pretty good for this trip, I'd say. I did actually come down here last week. I've not done much of my own fishing this winter, so you know, I really fancied getting a trip in down here to hopefully sort of, you know, kickstart my year, if you like. And I did have a bit of a result as well. You know, lake wasn't overly busy when I arrived last week. I managed to drop into a pretty good swim known as the Pipes. It sort of commands the sort of central area of the lake. And the reason I went in there is because I had seen a couple of fish show sort of within the first half an hour of walking around the lake. So I dropped in there for the first night and had a little bit of a lead around, got down sort of mid-afternoon, so I didn't have much time before dark, so I just cracked on with looking for some spots, or a spot, and yeah, sort of found one out in the sort of central area of the lake, a nice sort of clean spot in slightly deeper water, so I put a couple of rods on that for the night and just fished one off the side, a little bit further off the spot, just on a solid bag. There's quite a lot of weed present in here at the moment. Not too high, but it is littered around the lake bed, you know, sort of dead weed mixed in with some fresh stuff. So I felt like a bag would be a good tactic, you know, just sort of roaming one around, you know, not being too specific with where it was landing, and you know, hope that I could maybe pick up a fish or two off that. Nothing happened through the night hours. It was around, I think, about 8:10 in the morning. I had my first bite, which was a bite off the spot that I had found the day before. Fishing a little 12mm pop-up on a spinner rig, you know, a rig that I've done pretty well on in general, but I have done well over here with little pop-ups. Yeah, real powerful fish, sort of felt like a good fish from the off. Eventually I got it into the net and could see it was you know, clearly one of the big commons in the lake. So yeah, it was a really good start to the trip. You know, I thought maybe around, you know, mid-30, but it wasn't until I got it on the mat, you know, and it sort of felt the weight behind it. I realised it was probably a little bit bigger than that. And on the scales it went 38.10. One of the nice old commons in here, looked like a real, you know, sort of old brute of a common, big old patch on one side, and ironically known as the patch common. 38. So yeah, that was a really nice way to start the session, and you know, as always, I like to get the rod straight back out there because you know, on Sandhurst there's quite a few fish in here, and you know, once you can get a spot going, you know, you can tend to pick up a few fish within quite a short period of time. So rod went straight back out before getting the fish out, and I think only about an hour had passed and I managed another bite off that same rod. Again, another really good scrap. You know, they do fight hard in here, and again, landed a really nice common, quite a bit smaller than the last one, but a beautiful carp. Had beautiful winter colours and real sort of pristine as well. Yeah, that went 28 pounds. So yeah, really good start to the first morning of the trip. I was expecting things to actually kick off after those two quick bites that morning, but nothing else did happen throughout the day. The rain did come down quite heavy and the air temperature dropped, so I don't think that helped things. However, I still felt confident for the second night or going into that second morning, but yeah, nothing came of it. Birds were just diving relentlessly on my spot. So I was actually due to go home, but because I hadn't done much fishing, I decided to stay put for a third night, and I had a plan and I wanted to move swims because I'd seen a few fish showing up the other end. So I dropped into another good swim called the Bailiffs. I'd heard that it'd been fishing a little bit iffy throughout the winter. Usually it's quite a productive swim, but for whatever reason, they just didn't seem, you know, happy feeding in that area. Maybe they were using it to get away from the pressure, whereas, you know, more of the central area of the lake, you know, had been sort of hit hard through the winter, so maybe they were just using that area down the other end as a bit more of a sanctuary, you know. But anyway, I felt confident getting in, moving into that swim with, you know, with seeing carp present, and they weren't being bothered, and I was the only one down there. So yeah, I didn't want to mess around too much, but I did need to have a bit of a lead around due to how weedy it was. To be fair, it didn't take too long to find a couple of really nice clean areas. Didn't seem too blatant, but yeah, there's a couple of nice clean spots in and around the weed. So again, I just sort of repeated what I'd done, or sorry, how I'd caught on the first morning, which was, you know, just around sort of 10 medium spoms of bait, bit of crumb, couple of handfuls of pellet, couple of cans of sweet corn, you know, just a pretty standard winter mix really, and then just fishing little 12mm pop-ups over the top. So I had 2 new spots in the bailiffs, feeling really confident for the night ahead. It was due to go down to -1 that night, and yeah, it definitely did, because I woke up to, you know, a frost the next morning, and unfortunately nothing did happen. I had to be off that morning. I did sort of, you know, hang around for as long as I could, but yeah, nothing came of it. I didn't hear anything through the hours of darkness or see anything the night before. So yeah, that was pretty much the end of that trip. So it was a bit of a struggle towards the end of the trip, but it was a really positive start. And yeah, to come away with a couple of fish, and one being a, you know, a real decent one, I was more than happy, and looking forward very much so to getting back down here for this trip. So I arrived down here earlier for this trip. I left my house at 6 o'clock in the morning, got here just before 9, so it took the best part of 3 hours to get down. So I do feel like I'm on the back foot a little bit. Didn't sleep all that well last night, and yeah, enduring a 3-hour drive, you're always feeling a bit tired after that. But I've had a couple of coffees to charge me up, and I have got a couple of rods out there now fishing. So I had a lap round here when I first arrived, and there was around 4 to 5 anglers on, and everyone was pretty spaced out, which is always quite nice. Pipes was taken, which was obviously one of my options. Bailiffs was free, although there was someone opposite at the time. So they were the 2 areas that I was familiar with on the last trip. However, there was quite a lot of this bank that I'm on now, which was free of line pressure. And from the swim that I've gone into, it, you know, I am sort of commanding that good sort of central zone, the same sort of zone I was hitting from in the pipes last week, but just fishing the other side. So after about an hour of looking, I hadn't actually seen anything show, which I thought was a little bit odd. Perhaps I'd missed a few first thing this morning, not getting down here early enough. But the guy down to my right, he's had a couple this morning from the car park swim. So there's obviously fish down this end. Hence why I've sort of dropped in here. Really, it seemed like, you know, the obvious choice to what I had available. However, not long after I had put my gear in the swim, the guy out of the pipes has decided to pack down, and he's moved up that bailiff end. So I was thinking about going back into that swim, but to be honest, I quite like the idea of this, because the peg to my right is free at the moment, and I don't think there's anyone else due on, so I should be all right. But it means that I can fish one rod down the right hand side, more into peg 9's water, which is where the guy in the car park said he'd seen a couple this morning, and I can also fish 2 sort of more out in front in that sort of central body of the lake. Yeah, so I feel like, you know, I'm covering a fair bit of ground out there. But at the moment, I've just decided to go in with 2 bags, which I've cast sort of much further out to the right. And in a little bit, I'm going to look for a spot for this evening, more out in front of the swim, which I'm also going to bait shortly, and then I'm going to leave it for a few hours before I decide to put my maybe 1 or 2 rigs on that spot. You know, just give the fish a little bit of time to sort of mill over it, whatever. You know, they know that they're free of lines, and they know there's some grub down there. You know, I think sometimes on these busy day tickets, that it can really pay off to have, you know, your lines off the spots that you're fishing for a little while, just to give them that, you know, that free run around or whatever. And it just means that you can be a little bit more versatile in your approach. And, you know, like I'm doing now, I'm just sort of fishing bags for the day, hoping to nick a quick bite. You know, I've not caused any disturbance in the swim other than cast 2 bags out there. So yeah, that's kind of the thought process. So I'm just going to see the rest of this afternoon out, and then I'm going to think about crashing a lead around. Hopefully not too much, because I want to keep the, you know, minimal disturbance as much as possible. You know, they're so used to leads and spoms going out there all the time. They're probably not overly bothered by it, because that's what they're used to. But, you know, it's always nice if you can, just to keep everything, you know, to minimal disturbance as possible. So You know, these bags have been out there about an hour or so now. I have had the odd occurrence on them, maybe picked up by a coot, not sure. But I am going to freshen things up a little bit and see if we can nick that bite this afternoon to get the ball rolling.
No, it's just that coot, isn't it? It's short, keep up the line. Close. Yeah, that coot there. Nothing else up there.
I was just sorting out my bits getting my bits into the bivvy, and just had a bit of a funny occurrence on the right hand rod. The bobbin's pulled right up to the top and just dropped back down again. Not sure if it was a big liner or there's quite a few coots out there diving. I'm not sure if a coot had picked up my line. I'll probably give these rods about another half an hour. They've not been out long, but they've both had sort of funny occurrences, so I'll probably just redo them just in case you know, the rig's been disturbed. Is that a fish or a coot? That's a fish that just showed. Not too far off. I'm about to chuck this bag. Oh yeah, it's just gassing up now. It's a promising sign. The only thing about winter fishing, everything gets caked in mud. Alright, send it out towards the mushroom tree. Yeah, bag's just dispersed. See it bubbling up. So in case it was pickups from the coots that I'd missed, then thought we'd best off just to redo the rods. So there's definitely carp about. Because of the style that I'm fishing this afternoon, if they're up for it, hopefully it won't take too long to get a bite, because I haven't caused too much disturbance. And based on that rig I just brought in, they should be presented quite nicely, because I only brought in a little strand of silkweed, so I'd imagine the bags will present quite nicely in amongst that. Which is probably why there's quite a few fish about in this area. They do like the fresh stuff this time of year. Let's quickly skip this other rod in. Right, okay. This rig's come back in absolutely clean. bar one tiny little strand on the hook bait. Hook point's blunt though, same as the other one. Good job I've got a fresh rig ready to go. Go away. Coot hovering over my left hand rod. Wow. That was so smooth. That's really fine gravel. To weed. I mean, it's quite a big area. The first pullback was the best though. Real sort of pea shingle. Then it was a bit more bumpy gravel, and then pulled into weed. Just going to go a bit right of that cast. Much felt the same. Just go slightly right of that. Right, it's not as clean there. Not as clean there at all. It was only slightly right of the cast before. Really deep there in comparison to where I was just leading. I mean, it's a big old area, that. It's got good depth though, and I think with that rain coming in tomorrow, it's probably going to push them down a bit deeper. Can't make my mind up whether to fish 2 on it or 1. Right, that's 1 out there on the longer spot that I found earlier. Just going to ping the second rod out there and keep 1 out here on the bag for tonight, out to the right. And get the second rod out, and then just give the spot a little bit of bait. Hopefully be a chance of a bite or 2 through the night or into tomorrow morning. Fortunately, there was no bite forthcoming this afternoon, but
it's always worth a go. I mean, from what I know anyway, I think it's been, the majority of the bites have been coming sort of in the early hours into the first sort of half of the morning. So I'm still feeling very confident that something good could happen yet this trip. It's early days, I've only been here for an afternoon. So we should see what happens. Right, just move these rods over. Let's bring this rod in, change the bag to a leg clip and get this one onto the spot as well. And then, like I say, I'll get some bait out over the top. But yeah, it's come back in quite clean. Just a bit of wispy silkweed. Perfect for bag fishing over, really. I like it. Please don't think that point. It's always worth checking the hook points, even if you feel like the lead didn't hit the bottom. Just every so often the hooks can hit the lead on flight and dink your hook point. Come on, Mr. Swan, get out of the way. You're right on the tree that I want to cast on. There's always a bloody swan in my way. Just need him to drift on this wind because he's having a nap. There's two left. Ah, idiot. Right, that's gone bang on. Right, so it was a quiet night last night. It must be about 6:30 now. The middle rods just dropped back. And yeah, playing first Sandhurst Carp of the session, so hopefully we can get it in.
It's off one of the 2 rods out on the long spot over the bait. Doesn't feel very big, to be honest, but take anything that comes at the moment to get the trip underway. It's been a bit of a strange fight actually. He's been just been up on the surface the whole way in. Just sort of slowly bringing him back, not doing much. Nice little mirror by the looks of it. Nice little high back mirror. Scaly one. That's a lovely start to the morning. I've just changed the hook over on the rig. Just going to quickly get this rod wrapped up and sling it back out there because there's every chance of another bite this morning. It's just started to rain, so I'm going to get the waterproofs on and get on with it. Just needed to hit the clip a tiny bit harder. Absolutely bang on. Good. How did that just drift left? That's the one. A little bit right. I don't know is the answer. Too many casts. Fuck. That'll be the one boot.
7 casts later.
Right, that's the rod back out. It's taken a few more casts than I'd like, but it's back out there now, back on the money spot. So hopefully there might be another chance for a bite this morning. I'm going to get this fish sorted out in a little bit, but I'm going to get the stove on now and have a quick cup of coffee and then have a look at this little chap, 'cause he's a lovely dark mirror. He's not massive, but he's a real cool one, so yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing him.
Spomming, I just cannot spom on my spot. So annoying. Oh my god. What is going on with my spomming bat? Don't understand. Yes, I didn't open.
You I'm much more accurate, like stepping into it. It's just so sticky, it puts me off. So typical that spawn didn't open. Fucking pissing it down. Yes. Oh mate, I was so much better like that. Right, there's 4 spawns out there, getting absolutely soaked. But yeah, feeling confident that hopefully there'll be another bite on the cars this morning. So see what happens in the next couple of hours. It feels pretty epic out here. Right, let's get this fish out and get him back. He's proper cool, he is. I remember. Definitely not caught this before. Check this little guy out. Look how high his shoulders are. Yeah, well happy with this one. It's like jet black, scaly, got a cool little paintbrush tail, really high shouldered. Yeah, well happy with this one to start off the trip. Lovely carp. Just spin him round. Both sides are equally nice. Getting back in a minute because the rain's just started to come in. Yeah, really cool carp. Not weighed him. He's good upper double though. Don't think he's quite a 20 pounder. Right, let's get him back. Let's get you back, mate. Hopefully the first of a few. One more would be nice, not too greedy. One more nice Sandhurst common. Lovely the commons in here. Nothing wrong with it. Just hasn't gone. Interesting. Right, so I've just wound in the other rod off the spot that's not gone this morning. It had played on my mind a little bit last night. I wasn't sure if the rig had tangled on flight. They don't usually, so I did decide to leave it. But as it hasn't gone this morning, decided to quickly skip it back in and recast it. Rig came back in absolutely fine. So it's going back out there. I've just made a slight change. I've gone from an orange pop-up to a pink one. So see if that makes a difference. But hopefully we'll just get it out first chuck and yeah, there'll be a chance for another bite this morning. That went right on that left-hand tree where it needed to go. The other one's between the left and the middle, so they're nice and tight. It's absolutely spot on. Right, well, now that we've got a break in this weather, it's been raining all morning. Not a lot has happened since catching that fish first thing this morning. It's early afternoon now. The two rods out on the main spot where I did catch that fish from, they've been out there for a few hours. I have been picked up a couple of times by the coots. They have been diving a little bit throughout the morning, so there's still bait down there. I just don't think the fish are visiting the spot at the moment, which is a shame because I thought after getting that bite early on this morning there'll be a chance of, you know, maybe a couple off it throughout the morning, but it's just not materialised for one reason or another. Obviously I had a bag out on the right hand rod, fishing more out to the right of the swim. Nothing has obviously happened on that rod overnight or this morning. I've given it till about 10:30 and felt like that was more than enough time, you know, to get a bite off the bag. But when I did wind it in, I noticed straight away that it was locked up, and I brought in a big ball of weed. It was a mixture of Canadian and like some ribbon type weed, but yeah, it seems quite solid out there, so I was a little bit unfortunate to put the bag there. I wanted to keep a rod out in that area. I didn't want to start leading it up too much, but I put a lead back onto the tree marker where I had that bag, and straight away that lead did lock up. So I thought rather than put it back there, I went onto the next tree to the left, and I got a much cleaner pullback. So I've just gone with that for now. There's still a little bit of weed out there, so I have made a little change. Rather than putting the bag back out there, I've decided to just tie up a leg core leader and set up sort of helicopter style. I've got my top bead position about a foot above the lead, just so there's enough movement for the rig to travel up and down and to present over any low-lying weed. I've just gone a little bit left of where I cast the bag last night. It seems a little bit clearer there. Rig choice is just a simple spinner rig. I like to use a stiffer boom when I'm using a helicopter presentation, and I can get away with a much shorter boom because, as I've mentioned before, you've got enough travel between the lead and the top bead for that to, you know, lay over any low-lying weed. So the rod's probably been out there about an hour now. I have put a couple of swans of bait over that rod as well, seeing as I had my bite this morning over a bit of bait. So hopefully something will materialise this afternoon, or, you know, up until we go home tomorrow morning. You know, but now the rain has stopped, we have seen a couple of fish showing, so hopefully it's looking promising for a bite this afternoon. Right, so I've just wound in the two rods off the main spot after being cooted a couple of times. Decided that I'm going to leave the rods in now for an hour or two, and I'm just mixing up some bait. Just crumbing up a load of shrimp boilies, which I'm going to add a tin of sweet corn to as well. And seeing as I've not picked up any more fish since this morning, I'm going to give it a bit of a hit of bait tonight. You know, I think conditions have been really mild up until now. Conditions aren't bad at the moment. Yeah, I kind of just feel like I should have maybe picked up another fish or two this morning. Perhaps there wasn't enough bait out there. I did obviously top the spot up, but I'm going to give it a bit more bait this afternoon. Probably going with double the amount that I put in yesterday. Leave the rods out of the water for a couple of hours, let the fish come over, investigate it, swim over it with no lines, and then I'm going to get the rods back out for this evening, and hopefully they'll get on it at some stage through the night in the early hours, and you know, we can end up with a couple
couple more carp by the morning. So that's the plan. Yeah, so I'm just going to carry on now, getting some bait knocked up and get it out there. Pellet. Just terrible, absolutely terrible. Straight in the weed. Those ones are going out pretty well. I think I've done 9 now. About another 9 to go.
Okay, so the light's beginning to fade now. I haven't got long till dark. I have rested the swim this afternoon. I'd put bait out a few hours ago, so all I need to do now is get 2 rods back out onto the spot. The wind and rain has calmed off perfectly, so I'm going to take this opportunity to get the rods out there now, and hopefully there'll be a chance of a good one by the morning. We'll see. I mean, really, I should be able to get this rod out first, Chuck, as it's the first rod going out. That weren't no good. That went on one of my stray spawns. That's the one. It's going to have to be the left-hand rod, that one. It gives me plenty of room for the other rod anyway. All right, 1 down, 1 to go. Almost there. I was trying to get that left rod. Probably would have left that if it had hit the clip a bit softer. I don't know what it is, but my casters keep going left. At least I'm not getting those fucking frap ups anymore. I mean, this line is so easy to work with. It's like a flick, 90 yards. Bosh. Hit the clip, lovely that. Straight on that middle tree. So they're actually fair distance apart, aren't they? Right, it's job done. Although there's a swan right there and that's it, go under my lines. Oh, they're right pain in the arse, aren't they? No, 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 no. Shh. Bloody hell, he had his neck right on my lines. Thought he was going to go for it then. Right, job done. Hopefully there's a big one on the cards. But I'm starving now, so I'm going to get some dinner on the go. Got a paella for this evening. Lovely. It's not a big one at all.
It fought so hard. If I'd lost that, I'd sworn it was a big one. Come on, in you go.
Well, as I hoped, that 6 o'clock bite time paid off again this morning with a nice little scaly mirror. I've managed to get the rod straight back out onto the spot along with 4 more sponsor bait. So hopefully there might be a chance of another one. It's been absolutely lashing it down this morning, so hopefully we'll get a break in the weather to get the shots done of this fish because we need to be off soon. Well, how about this on the final morning? It has not stopped raining. It's going to be a miserable old pack up this morning. But it seems like the spot has really started to kick off now. This is the second bite of the morning. It's just getting on for about 8 o'clock and we need to be going in the next hour. I'm going to concentrate now and try and get this fish into the net, and hopefully we'll have 2 carp to show you this morning. This was off the rod that I just recast after that first bite this morning. It's probably only been out there 20 minutes. Another smallish one, sort of common. A nice old common though. Nice dark one. Here you come. Lovely. It's a bite. Right, well I managed to land that second fish this morning. Looks like a low 20 common, but a lovely looking one. The left hand rod has done both bites this morning. The middle rod hasn't done anything, so I've just recast that one as well. Hopefully there might be a chance of one more, and hopefully it'll be a better Sandhurst carp, but if not, it's been a great trip anyway to end with another 2 bites this morning. Still got quite a few leeches on them, so I'm just going to pull a couple of these off and then show you the first one from this morning. Well, here's the first one from this morning. I've not bothered weighing him, he's probably an upper double. He was very welcome in all that rain this morning, and from what's been a pretty tricky session, I'd say. Just quickly show you the other side. Alright, slip this one back and we'll get the other one out to show you. That bug on his lip. It's well leached up on his peck here. Big bunch of them. He's got like little melted pecks on him. This is the second one of the morning. Lovely old looking common. He's quite lively, so I'm not going to keep him out too long. But a lovely way to end the trip. But here's the other side. Lovely old looking common, this one. It's probably the biggest one of the trip as well. All right, let's get him back, get out of here because it's just started to rain. Right, let's get out of here.